Welcome back to Design with Miyoshi. We're going to do the last two drawings of the simple um, drawings I do in the beginning of my class. So here we go. We're going to start with the new part.
But first, I want to thank Northwest Technical Products for sponsoring this video. If you are part of an educational institution in Washington, Alaska, Oregon, Idaho, or Montana, contact Northwest Technical Products for all your SolidWorks and other technical needs. Thanks, Andrew, and all the crew at Northwest Technical Products.
All right, so let's start with our next model. Again, I will probably do these guys a little bit faster, but this is called a spacer. So we're going to start a spacer. It is 546E for those who are actually in my classroom. So 546E, it's a spacer. Start a new project. And as always, we will start with a new sketch. So we'll do sketch. And I'm going to get this annoying thing out of the way. Oh, I already did. All right, I go sketch. And we will again, but this time actually, I'm going to do the top plane because it actually kind of makes a little bit more sense to do the top plane. That's where it's actually made. Now, so we'll do the top plane. Yeah. Okay, so top plane, I'm going to make 3 circles. And I'm just going to make them wherever. Oopsie, I didn't mean to do that. I didn't want to line them up. Let's put them kind of on the screen somewhere. And then first thing I'm going to do after that is I'll add relation. I'll click on 3 things. Let's get rid of this. Clear the selection. Right click. I just right clicked and cleared. So I'll click on the center, click on the center, click on the center, and click on the origin. And we're going to make them all horizontal. And then I'm going to click on the uncheck the outside too. And these 2 guys, we're going to make them coincident. Coincident means they're in the same location when they are points. Okay. Now we're going to do a little dimensioning right off the bat. This guy here is actually the width of our part, so I'll put this out here. The diameter for the width there is 3 1/4. So I'll do 3 space 1/4 because I don't want to do that really hard division there, converting the fraction into a decimal. I'm just kidding there, but that's okay. And then I'm gonna put this guy here. Do I want to do that yet? Yes, I will. I will do a little bit of math on this one because this one actually gives me the radius, and so I'll double the radius to give me 1 1/2. It's actually double 3/4, so I will put 1.5, and I will then add some relations. Add relation between this guy and this guy. Make sure they are the same. They're equal. Oopsie, too many things. Let's close that guy or clear that selection and just grab those 2. We'll make them equal. And then I'm gonna do a little dimensioning. Now, the dimensioning on this is gonna be a little different. You have to actually click. We're gonna click on the circle, but I want the distance from the outside edge to the outside edge. If you just click the circle and go from circle to circle, you'll get from center to center, but that's not what I want. So what I want to do is I'm gonna hold the shift key. So I just hit escape a couple times to get out of there, so I stayed in smart dimensioning. I'm gonna hold the shift key and click on the outside edge of the circle. Then holding the shift key still, I'm gonna click on the outside edge of the other circle. And notice that this gives me a linear dimension between the 2 circles, the outside edges of the circles. And this whole thing, the length is 6 1/2. So I'll put 6.5. And that now, well, as you can see, it kind of made it kind of funky. And I clicked another button on there, so I have to change my front view back to the front view. Oh, where's the front view? Front view there. Oops, top view. We're on the top view, so I'll click on the top view. All right. And my little mouse buttons don't like to work. I have to still fix that. All right, so now I want the distance between the outside edge and the origin to be half of 6.5. So I'll click on the shift key. Notice I'm still in smart dimensions. I'll click on the shift key, click on the outside edge of the circle. And I can let the shift key go because I'm going to go to the center. So I'll click on the center. And this distance here is going to be 3.25. And there we go. Now it's all centered. And notice I can bring these guys in. I can make them a little bit smaller, bring this guy in a little bit closer. And that's what our figure starts to look like. It's starting to look right. Now, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go ahead and make a line. And I can not have to click out of smart dimension. I just click a line. And what I always do when I start this, I just make some lines just kind of anywhere. Now, I want to stop this line so I can right click and do end chain. And then I'll start another line here somewhere. And then right click again, end chain. And then left click and click somewhere, right click, end chain. Then click again somewhere. And left click again, right click. And this time I'll just select that will get me out of the line command. Now notice these don't look like they're touching anything, and they're not, but we want to make sure that they are tangent to these guys. If you remember what tangent is from your geometry class or some other class where you learned about shapes, then you'll know that a line is tangent to another point, and that line is tangent to an arc or circle in this case, touches only at one point, and it's perpendicular to a line drawn from the center to that intersection, okay? So we're gonna make these technically they're line segments if you're a geometry person. We're gonna make these lines tangent to these circles. So I'm gonna click on add relation, and I'm gonna click on this and make it, click on this guy and hit tangent. Same thing here, click and do tangent. Notice that I clicked on the circle first in the line on the second one. That's so that it deselects the other things. If I actually grab this guy, it'll have all 3 things. Well, it used to have all 3 things in the section. So I'll grab that guy and that guy, and I'll make them tangent as well. Okay. Now I also noticed that I have a couple things here that I didn't want to have. I have these equals, and I don't want them there. They can be equal because that's true, but I'm not going to have them equal. All right. So that's tangent to that. I'll grab this guy and this guy. This time I just click them instead of doing the add relation, and I'll make them tangent as well. Okay. So now what I want to do is before I finish up the bottom ones, I want to do one more thing. Notice that this line segment and this circle, the line doesn't actually touch the circle. So what I want to do is add a relation. And I'll right click here to get rid of my selection, or I could have clicked on here to get rid of the selection. If you click, it selects, and if you click again, it unselects it. But I'm going to click on just the endpoint. Notice that just the endpoint gets selected. Then I grab the circle, and then I make it coincident. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing here. Circle, endpoint, make them coincident, and I'll do the same thing all the way around. All 4 of these guys that I've got so far coincident. Line, or the endpoint and circle coincident. Now, if you could do the same thing by doing a different thing, and I might even have the opportunity to do that, but you could use the trim command. So I'll just make these tangent without lots of talking here. I'll just make them tangent, 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 tangent. And here's one here that's really obvious. Notice that the endpoint is not even close to that guy. So and it's nice and simple to just go trim entities and click and drag across the part you want to get rid of. And that does the same thing as making the relation between the endpoint and the circle and making coincident. Same
result. Oopsie, wrong thing. So I can right click and delete that and just add the coincident instead. Click, click, coincident. Concentric means they just have the same center. We don't want these guys to have the same center. Not yet. That's the next thing coming up in a minute. All right. So now we've done that. I might want to do one more thing. I'm going to click on this dimension and I'm going to change its dimension properties. Let's see if I can remember to do that. Oops. No, I want the dimension properties. Here we go. So I want this guy, instead of diameter, I want it to be the radius. Okay. And again, you can just click on the proper one you want. Go to liters and click the type of dimension you want. All right. In this case, I want that to be radius. So I have the diameter here because that's the whole width there, and I have the radius on this one. Now, I said before that you don't want this to be too close to vertical, but I don't want the big, huge line here, so I'm going to change this a slight bit and make that there inside the coincident point. Then I'm going to go ahead and trim edges, and I'll click and drag all the way across to this side. Now, notice it looks like there's another line still there. Well, it's not really there. What it is, if I click on the check, it's actually this dimension line. So if I move this down to the bottom instead, it'll actually look better. That now it shows as a hidden line. And if I really wanted to, I could pull this guy up to the top, and that's probably a little bit better. Okay. So that's the outside of the figure. Now, what you can do is you can either choose to extrude it here and then make holes, which is fine because we already know how to do extrude cut. But I prefer to, in this case, make some more circles. So I just click on circle. And again, I could make them all willy-nilly out here and put them wherever I wanted. Or I can go ahead and click on the centers and make them that way. But I kind of like to do it this way. It gives my students time to catch up when I'm in class. So I clicked on add relation. Notice I got the arc. I'm going to click on that and get rid of that. I want the center. Actually, I can do this, the arc and make them concentric. If you hit co-radial, that will make the exact, I'm going to do that by mistake here. It makes them exact same circle. That means they've got the same circle and the same radius. But I don't want that, so I'll just do Control Z, get that out of there. I still got the arc selected, so I will make them concentric. Con meaning same, and centric meaning circle or center. All right, I'll do the same thing over here, concentric. And on this one, I'm going to grab the point and the origin, and I'll just make them merge, I guess. That's what I want to do. Okay. Then I'll have one more relation, and that is I want this guy and this guy, the two outer circles, I want them to be equal. And then I'll just do some dimensioning. Smart dimension this guy. I need the diameter for that guy to be, it's the first hole, it's 3/4 diameter. And I notice I changed the post, and this guy here, I want it to be, let's see, what is it? It's 2 3/8. So 2 space 3/8, so 2 3/8 or 2.375. Okay, and there we have it. Now all I have to do is go to features, extrude by space. It'll extrude this guy up, and I want it to extrude a whole inch, I believe. Yep, 1 inch. There's no need to do midplane, but if you'd like to do midplane extrusion instead, you could do that as well. Okay, then I just save this guy up. Oops, hit the check. And then all I have to do is save it, and my 5-46E is done. Okay, so I will close this guy up, and I'll make a new drawing, or make a new model. New part, okay. This time I'm going to do the last one of, like I said, the simple, kind of simple ones. This is 546L for those of you who are in my class and actually in the classroom, maybe. This one I'm going to go ahead and, I'm going to start this one from the top plane. The top plane actually makes sense to start with as well. So I will make, let's just make this, and I'll make this not so willy-nilly as I did before. I'll do a horizontal line and a vertical line and then a horizontal line that matches up. Notice that that horizontal dash line or vertical dash line lines up with the endpoint there. So I'll do that, and I'll just make my nice, beautiful rectangle. Now, these guys here in the figure, if you see, they are actually curved. They're what's called a fillet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a fillet, a sketch fillet. So here we're just going to do this. There's a sketch fillet and a sketch chamfer. A fillet is a curved corner or a smooth corner, and a chamfer is a cutoff corner. We're just going to do a fillet. And notice here it asks for the radius, and the radius of the fillet is 1/2. So 0.5 or 1/2 for my radius of my fillet. And all you have to do with the fillet is you can either do one of two things. You can, well, let's first of all get rid of that. Don't have anything in my blue entities to fillet section. You can either grab the endpoint, click that guy. I don't want to keep the constrained corners necessarily. I don't remember if I need to do that. Click on that guy. Nope, I don't want that. Let's just get rid of that. Oops. Put the last line in there. Okay. So when I do the fillet, let's do the sketch fillet again. I don't want to keep the constrained corners because that keeps those lines there, and I don't want to do that. So I have a 0.5, and I don't want that line. I'll right-click and click selection. And all I do is click on that corner. Okay? And then what I want to do, that's one way to do it. The other way to do it is grab the edge and the other edge where the fillet's going to be, and I can click that guy, and there's my fillet. Okay? Now, normally I've been having you, draw corner to corner, then making that the midpoint. But this time instead, I'm going to make this edge and the origin. I'm going to make that the midpoint. Okay, and notice it kind of got weird there, but that's okay. The dimensions are off, but that's all right because we can just do our smart dimensions. So we'll smart dimension this guy, and I could have dimensioned that left edge instead. Let's see what that is. That's width is 2 1/4, so 2.25. And then I know the length from this edge to this edge is a total of 5. Okay, so that is the bottom. Now there's a couple other things you could do. There are 2 holes here on the end there, so I'm going to make those 2 holes now. You don't actually have to do this. You could do this later. You can make the holes, and I'm going to make them concentric because that's what they are. So I'll just click on this center point. So I'll click there and make a circle, and then I'll click here and make a circle, and I'll add a relation. The relation on those 2 guys is going to be equal, and then I will just smart dimension the top one, and the radius of that guy is the hole, which is 1/2 inch diameter. So I'll just do 1/2 inch, and there it is. Okay, and I'm going to move this guy, make it look a little prettier, and there is our base. Now what we can do is just features, extrude boss base. We're going to go up a 1/2 inch, I believe. Yep, 1/2 inch, and there we go from there. Okay, now if you did not put the center, the midpoint of that line there on the outer edge, you can still do this drawing just fine. What we're going to do is, and notice that I changed my view again. You can just change your view here. And notice here are my top, front, left, right, back, and bottom views. Or I can use this guy here, but I like to use this. If you notice, since this is the right plane, I can either click on this face or click on the right plane when I make my new sketch. So I'll do sketch, sketch, and again, I can click on this plane, or I like to instead use that right plane. Okay, they are the same in this case, but if you change your geometry somehow later on, you can fix it up a little easier if you put it on the plane rather than on the face. All right. So what I'm going to do, let's go back to the view here, that left view, and all I'm going to do is make a couple lines. Well, I'll make this line here, right click and end of chain, and then I'll click from that endpoint and go here, right click, select. And then I'm going to make another, instead of making a fillet, what I'm going to do is make a circle. Now let's make the circle here, select. And then I'll do the same thing I did with the last one, and I'm going to, last figure with my tangents, all relations. I'll make this guy and this guy tangent, and this guy and this guy tangent. And then notice they don't touch the circle. So again, I could use the add relation, which I'm still in, and make the endpoints like this, click here, and then on the endpoint, click on the circle and make them coincident. Or I believe I should be able to do extend entities. And notice when you extend entities, if you move, as soon as I move my mouse to the edge of this, to this top portion of this line, it should go all the way to the circle. And you can see that change color. So I'll just click on that, and that extends it up here. Okay. Now, I'm going to do one more thing. I'll do trim also, and I'll trim this guy. And I'll add one more relation, which is I want this guy and this guy to be equal. Okay. Now, you would think you could go right over here to features and extrude boss face, but it's going to say, hey, you messed up. You didn't do something. Well, the something we didn't do was we did not close this figure in. So what we have to do is make one more line. So I'll go back to sketch. I'm still in the sketch. Now I just make a line from this endpoint to this endpoint, and now it's a closed figure. I'll do select. I'm going to do two more things. I'm going to make a circle because I don't want to make the hole later. I'll just make the circle. Again, it's concentric with the other one, so I'll just grab that center. And then I'll do smart dimension. The dimension of this guy, the circle, is 0.5 diameter. The dimension of this arc is actually 0.5 radius. Notice the R is there. That means it's a radius. So I'll put 0.5 radius. And then the height from the very bottom to the very top is 2 3/4. So I'll click on the bottom line. Then I'll hold the shift key and click on the top of the circle. And then I'll come out here. And that guy is, what did I say, 2 3/4. 2 space 3/4. Oh, I hit 3. So nice thing about parametric modeling is I can just change that dimension. So I'll just click here. And notice it just lets me change it to 2.75 instead of 3.75. That looks much better. Okay. Then I'll go to features. And extrude boss face. And notice it didn't make me have a nice isometric view or anything, so I'll just click on here. And notice it goes this direction, which is the direction I want it to go. Its size, though, is 1. And then it goes that direction. Now, if it was going the wrong way, for instance, if it was going this way, you could just click on this little button right here, and that changes its direction. Notice that I obviously changed its size too, but this guy should be 1. It's going in the proper direction now, and I just hit OK. And there we have it. That is figure 5-46L. Save that up, and name that 5-46L. And there we have it. All right. Thanks for tuning in for Design with Miyoshi. I hope you come back and see how to do the drawings of these guys next.